Assembly Member Qureshi. It's about the costs of the London super sewer.
Yeah, Murad, I do indeed have concerns about the cost of the of the super sewer, the Thames Tideway Tunnel. It's a huge scheme. The concern must be that there is an incentive on the part of Thames Water to increase the size of their regulated asset base in order to improve their overall financial position. And we need to monitor it very closely. And at the moment, the scheme is being controlled by Ofwat, and I think that we need to keep a very, very beady eye on it. I've raised Londoners' concerns both with Thames Water and with the government. What I don't think we can do is to say that the scheme's got to be junked. The Thames Tideway Tunnel is an important way of addressing the unacceptable situation in London's river. Millions of tonnes of raw sewage pumped into it every year, and we can do something about it, and we should.
Mr. Mayor, I'm certainly not saying that, but I asked this question just because of your record for standing up for Londoners against Thames Water price hikes. Isn't particularly good, I would suggest, because last year it was only us in the Labour group that lobbied against the £29 hike for 2014-15, which they wanted to use to fund this. Now, more recently, the MD of Thames Tideway Tunnel has stated that the chance to invest in the sewer will be a keenly thought-out opportunity. And there is a spectacle of sovereign funds fighting over who gets the share of a potential 11% increase in Londoners' bills. And it's not a dignified one, and it's not going to be a low-cost one, to deliver this major piece of public infrastructure. Are you satisfied that Thames Water have done the most to minimise the risk to taxpayers and customers in London?
To water ratepayers is the real risk, I think. No, I'm not. I mean, I think there's something where we need to keep continual pressure, and I think that it is absolutely legitimate for London boroughs and for the GLA to be extremely wary of the system by which this is being financed and being run, we really need to be extremely vocal and active on this, as I have been, both with Thames Water and with the government. There is a concern that water ratepayers will simply be used to finance a gigantic expansion of the regulated asset base of Thames Water, and in a way that is not properly controlled. So it is down both to the government and to Ofwat to make sure that that does not happen. But we as London need to send a very strong signal that that would be unacceptable, and I can assure you that we are looking very carefully at the terms under which this scheme is being financed.
Well, thank you for that response. It's also useful to know that Bloomberg have reported that Thames Water have already failed to prepare for the Thames Tideway by not allocating sufficient capital in advance. FT commentators suggest that the construction risk is enormous, the likelihood of delays or problems are huge, and in all truth, expectation is customers are going to have to pay for it. In that instance, I don't want this milestone around the necks of Londoners, and we lack a strong voice for the consumer interests.
Yes.
Of a private monopoly provider that none of us can actually walk away from.
Sure. Yes, that is right. It is also right, though, that we should face up to the truth, which is that we cannot go on as we are, and that we need major investment in our sewers, and we must have a Thames Tideway Tunnel. Or I think that is. We've looked at all the other schemes, the alternatives that have been put forward by Wandsworth and Hammersmith and Fulham and others, and in the end, I think you've got to do the Thames Tideway Tunnel. It is the only real answer, and we can't pretend to Londoners that this isn't going to cost anything. It will cost something. The question is, how do we keep the downward pressure on those costs when Thames Water themselves do not appear to have such an incentive. And that is the problem.
I agree with you that the need for it, and so do all the parties around this circle. What we do need to focus on is the funding of it, and you only have to see the National Audit Office's report on what's been proposed when suggesting that there are parallels with the PPP. Given that we've learnt the lessons from that, I don't want to see that repeated here in this case. For the sake of Londoners and their water.
Well, look, I completely agree with you about this. I think this is something about which we are speaking frankly, we're increasingly concerned in the GLA and in the Mayoralty, and we are going to want to see some very, very clear assurances from government about how on earth we are going to protect the London water ratepayer in the long term from what you rightly describe as the potential overruns, the inevitable explosion of the bills in a huge project that involves basically building a tunnel underneath the middle of the Thames, bigger than a tube tunnel, right the way through from wherever it is, from Teddington or whatever, I can't remember where it begins, right the way through to Beckton, Hammersmith to Beckton. So it's a huge, huge thing, and clearly the risks in doing that, the cost risks are massive, and you need to build into such a project a huge disincentive to overruns. And I am seriously worried that we do not yet have that disincentive built in.
Thank you.